What's up, guys? This is Ty Zen with prisonerfreedom.com. It's a freedom blog where we talk about the tools, the techniques, the strategies, and the technologies that's available to help people find freedom in their lives. And in this video, I want to talk about the issue that caused the price of Bitcoin to crash to $100 a couple of days ago, or was it? I think it was yesterday or something like that. Where it crashed from around near $700 down to 100, and then it snapped right back up to $700 again. This issue concerns the transaction malleability issue with Mt. Gox and other Bitcoin exchanges around the world. Okay, this is not just with Mt. Gox only. This can happen to any of the Bitcoin exchanges or the cryptocurrency exchanges. Okay, so I was able to do some research and find out from my friend Leon Fu, and so here is a non-technical explanation of what happens to the transaction malleability issue, okay, or the bug that's in the exchanges. So basically, what happens is the exchanges do not use the factory-made Bitcoin wallet or the Bitcoin QT wallet. They have their own wallet that they create, or their own account that they create, because the amount of transactions that they have to do on a daily basis, because it's an exchange, and because of the amount of volume that they do, they have to create their own wallet. They cannot use the Bitcoin QT wallet or software and be able to make all those transfers. Okay, so for security reasons and for transaction volume reasons, they use their own wallet that they create in-house. They don't use the Bitcoin QT wallet or account software that is developed by the core developers of Bitcoin. Okay, so what happens is whenever you withdraw Bitcoins from the exchange, the exchange will assign it a transaction ID number. This is very common. The banks use it with the fiat currency, and it's very common with the New York or the NASDAQ exchanges. Every time you make a trade or a withdrawal or any kind of financial transaction with a banking institution or any kind of financial institution that uses fiat currency, they will attach a transaction ID to it for confirmation and for security reasons and for liability and compliance reasons. Well, in the Bitcoin protocol and the Bitcoin network, this is no different. The problem is when the exchange uses this transaction ID, they normally, like Mt. Gox, they will normally use the transaction ID to indicate, they use that as the basis to determine whether or not the Bitcoins have been withdrawn from your account or not, okay, or taken in or out of your account. And the core developers, including the chief scientist of Bitcoin, which is Gavin Andreessen, they are fully aware of this transaction malleability issue, and they have put notices out, and it's on the Bitcoin wiki, and it's everywhere. It's publicly available, and they have warned people not to use this transaction ID number as the basis to determine whether or not the Bitcoins have been withdrawn from your personal account or not. The reason why is because it can be changed during the time that it's waiting to be processed in the blockchain and included in the public ledger or the public blockchain of Bitcoin. So all the core developers and the Bitcoin Foundation and everybody that's involved with Bitcoin are aware of this, and they have advised businesses such as Mt. Gox and other exchanges, or any type of business that uses Bitcoin, to make sure that it is included, your transaction, your withdrawal transaction, or has been included in the public blockchain first before they count it as a complete withdrawal. So what Mt. Gox was doing was that they would just rely on the transaction ID only to use as the standard or the basis of their withdrawal confirmations, and that is not a complete and 100% accurate piece of data, because during the time that Mt. Gox or any exchange sends that transaction ID through the Bitcoin network to be confirmed and included in the blockchain, as it goes and it travels through the different nodes to get confirmed and transacted, as the transaction goes through the different Bitcoin nodes, to get confirmed and included in the blockchain, there is a possibility that a bad node, or a node that is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, and it changes the transaction ID number. So because of that, it creates confusion inside the Bitcoin network and the system and the businesses involved with issuing that transaction ID. And what happens is there's confusion as whether or not the Bitcoins have been withdrawn from your account or not. Okay, so what it does is it creates confusion, and it takes time to clear up this confusion and resubmit the transaction. Okay, now there are some concerns about this. Okay, and I want to address those concerns based on what my friend Leon Fu has told me and informed me, and what others. Security experts in the field, such as Andreas Antonopoulos and even Gavin Andresen himself, put out on the BitcoinFoundation.org blog. They have issued releases and notices to let people know that this transaction malleability issue does not affect your Bitcoin. In other words, it does not, the issue, someone cannot steal the Bitcoins from your account, nor add Bitcoins to your account. The only thing that it does is it creates confusion at the exchange, and it creates panic and fear within the novice and the amateurs that do not understand what Bitcoin is or how it works. So it sends the price of Bitcoin downwards and causes the price to crash, because the nervous novice and the amateurs that don't understand Bitcoin, they start to panic and start to sell their Bitcoins and do other things. Okay, so you do not have to be concerned that someone is going to steal your Bitcoins. There's just a delay when there's a withdrawal. Okay, now because this is a known issue and a known fact since 2011, and it has been widely published among the Bitcoin community, when the people at Mt. Gox blame this transaction malleability issue on top of the their, I guess, bad business practices, or I'm not saying that what's going on behind the scenes at Mt. Gox, but apparently the customers are not happy with their work, okay, and the way that they handle customers. Their customer service is not the best, okay? So because of that, they are using this transaction malleability issue that they are fully aware of and blame it on the Bitcoin protocol, and they're blaming it on the Bitcoin developers' fault, okay? In other words, they're trying to push the blame onto the Bitcoin network and the developers itself. And this is not fair, and it's not true, because they have been fully warned and they are fully aware of this issue with the transaction malleability issue since 2011, since it was publicly announced by the Bitcoin Foundation and its core developers. Okay, we know this for a fact that Mt. Gox and all the exchanges know this because it's been out for a while, and for sure we know that for a fact that Mt. Gox knows this. So they cannot blame it on the core developers or the Bitcoin protocol, because the CEO of Mt. Gox is on the Bitcoin Foundation. He is one of the board members of the Bitcoin Foundation. He is right next to Gavin Andresen, who is the chief scientist and of the Bitcoin protocol. So there is absolutely no reason whatsoever for Mt. Gox or anyone at Mt. Gox to claim that they do not know about the transaction malleability issue or bug in the system. Okay, and they should be relying on the fact that once the transaction is completed and it's included in the Bitcoin public ledger or blockchain, at that point, then they can let the customers know that their Bitcoins have been withdrawn or not. Okay, instead of just relying on an incomplete withdrawal and the basing up only on the transaction ID only. Okay, so I want to address this issue and calm people down, because we got a lot of nervous novice and we got a lot of amateurs involved in Bitcoin. They're not aware of this, so they're panic selling. So they're creating more confusion and more FUD in the markets. Okay, so I hope that this video helps people understand what happened, what caused the crash, and how they're recovering from it. Gavin Andreessen from the Bitcoin, the chief scientist for the Bitcoin developers, right, and the protocol, him and the other core developers are working on a patch or a fix right now to completely eliminate this problem so that businesses, whether they know how to address the issue or not, whether they use the Bitcoin QT wallet or not, this transaction malleability issue will no longer be a problem. The other issue that I want to bring up is that immediately after this transaction malleability issue occurred with Mt. Gox, there was a massive DDoS attack. And what a DDoS attack is, where hackers, let's just say bad people, are setting up all these botnets. What they do is they go in and they take control of innocent people's computers, and they're taking that control of that computer and sending a request to Mt. Gox and other exchanges, other Bitcoin exchanges, to go to their website. And what this does is it creates thousands and thousands of computers just hitting the website at one time, and it collapses the website, and it doesn't cause damage, it causes delay because it's being flooded with traffic and users, and the websites are not able to handle that many users at one time. And that's just the non-technical explanation of a DDoS attack. So these bad people are hitting the exchanges immediately after this transaction malleability issue was exposed at Mt. Gox. So it makes it worse. It makes it seem like the problem is bigger than what it is. But the reality is they are completely two separate problems. And the DDoS, the transaction malleability issue, will be resolved in a very short period of time. However, the DDoS attacks will never cease to exist. Okay, that will continue to happen. Just like there will constantly be bad people who try to rob banks, there will always be bad computer hackers who try to hack into the system and screw up the network and screw up the system. That will never go away. The Bitcoin protocol has been resistant to that, and that has already been proven in the last 5 years. However, the exchanges will have to beef up their security and just deal with these DDoS attacks, just like banks have to deal with bank robbers. Okay, obviously, it costs money to create a DDoS attack, so it's not something that can happen 24 hours a day and happen and never ending. Eventually, whoever's doing it has to stop because of the cost factor. Now, let's discuss several reasons why someone would DDoS attack an exchange and cause panic and fear, okay? I have come up with several reasons or several excuses of why someone would do that, because when they do a DDoS attack on an exchange, it does not allow them to steal the Bitcoins. It does not allow them to do anything with the Bitcoins. The only thing it does is that it causes confusion and panic, and it causes the price of Bitcoin to fall. Now, who would benefit from doing this? Obviously, it would be somebody who needs a large amount of Bitcoins, okay? They need it for a hedge fund. They need it to increase their inventory of Bitcoins. They need it because they want to buy Bitcoins at a lower price. So let's talk about the first two people, the people that want to buy a large inventory or they need a large quantity of Bitcoins for their hedge fund or for their investment reasons, okay? So by doing this, they'll spend a small sum of money to hit the exchanges to cause panic, lower the price. They're able to go in there and buy all these Bitcoins at a lower price for their hedge fund or for their own personal inventory. And after that, the price of Bitcoin will come back up. So this allows them to buy a large amount of Bitcoins at a lower price. Another reason that someone would want to DDoS attack a Bitcoin exchange is they are big time traders, what you would call a whale, and they're doing this. They're spending a sum of money to cause the panic and fear, drive the price of Bitcoin down, and once it's at the bottom, they will buy it. And then as soon as they stop the DDoS attacks and people realize that it's no longer that it's just a fake attack, what happens is the price of Bitcoin will shoot up, and so they bought low and they sell it back high, and so they're making the profit in between. Now, this is not something that everyone can do, like myself or the average Bitcoin user cannot do. You need lots of computer skills and you need lots of money to initiate a DDoS attack on the Bitcoin exchanges, and you need a large sum of money to buy up all these Bitcoins once the price falls. I don't know the exact cost to initiate a DDoS attack on an exchange, but I know that it's not profitable to do it just to buy 10 or 20 or 100 Bitcoins. You would look to buy probably in the thousands of Bitcoins in order for it to be profitable and to be worth the attacker's time and money. Okay, so I hope that this explains in this video in non-technical terms for people that are invested in Bitcoins or other cryptocurrencies of what a transaction malleability is and how the DDoS attacks are affecting the price of Bitcoin and who stands to benefit from it. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. And I hope that this non-technical video explanation of what a transaction malleability and how a DDoS attack affects the exchanges and the price of Bitcoin helps you better understand it so that you don't panic when these things happen. Okay, I look forward to catching you guys in the next video. And if you want to support or contribute to our efforts here in this Freedom blog, you're welcome to visit prisonorfreedom.com/donations and make a donation in Bitcoins, Litecoin, or any of the cryptocurrencies to our efforts. I appreciate your help and your support, and I look forward to seeing you again in a future video.